Hey everybody, it's your girl Hita, and I'm back for another amazing episode. Inner Oprah is coming out of HitaTalk. Thank you for joining me once again. I hope you guys have enjoyed this amazing season so far, and we have so much more to talk about. Today, after you subscribe to HitaTalk below, you will get all the updates on all the Wonder Women to come. But before we go too far, I need to introduce you to a published author, an empowerment speaker, an entrepreneur, a wifey, a mommy, advocate of women through and through. A dear friend of mine, the lovely Lisa Harris of Fashion Meets Poetry is here. Stay tuned, you guys. You're going to be inspired. Don't go anywhere. Hi.
Hello.
How are you, dear?
I'm very well, thank you.
You're doing a thing. You've done lots of things. You're a very inspiring woman. We have lots of things in common and some things that we can bounce off of each other because we talk a lot of women empowerment and inclusivity. How did you get your hands into this? Like, let's learn about your background because you have some pretty impressive resume tasks that you've checked off.
I was pretty much born in the corporate world. So I spent almost 20 years in corporate America. Most recently as a Target buyer, always into apparel, fashion, cosmetics, and beauty. And that's been my background up until, gosh, 5 years ago.
That's crazy. Corporate world to the non-corporate world, there's a lot of differences and some similarities.
Yeah.
You're a brilliant mind, though. I mean, your marketing, your branding, your strategy is, I think, is pretty on point. Some days you may agree, some days you may differ. We have a lot of candid conversations. That's between us. But I think you do what you do very well.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. What is Fashion Meets Poetry? Let's just address that real quick.
Well, Fashion Meets Poetry is a mission-driven company built on a community platform of beauty and bravery. And it was really inspired, the movement was inspired by my poetry, and that's where everything began.
There's some things that happened in between. I mean, what happened?
Yes. There was a time between two of my corporate jobs where I spent about 18 months at home. So I was a traveling working mom with 2 young kids at home. I ended up spending 18 months at home, and it was one of the most difficult times in my life. I went through a lot of personal and professional crossroads in that time. Really wondering who I was, where I wanted to go, and really experienced a lot of depression, questions, a lot of uncertainty, and it was in that time when I pushed a lot of the people I loved away. And I turned to writing as a way of getting me through that difficult time. And the poetry, I say a lot of times to my audience who does follow me that my poetry saved me. And that's what inspired everything after that. So
I'm in that situation. I'm at home. I have I try to do what I can. So you had 2 little ones at the time. So having your creative outlet was also something you're very good at. And you made a book. You wrote a book. Talk about this book. You have a poetry book.
I did. So I published the end of 2016, and my book is called Unveiled Beauty, Handwritten Stories from a Poetic Heart. And it is a coffee table book. So it has fashion photography and my poetry. And all of the fashion photography enhances the story of the poems. And with my marketing background, or my corporate background, or whatever you want to call it, I knew I wanted to create something that was different and something that was very appealing to the eye. But what was really important to me is as I was sharing very raw poetry about women, that I had everyday women representing the words.
Now, what does everyday women mean to you?
Everyday women in my book and everything that I've done going forward is women who are not necessarily commissioned models. Anywhere from moms to doctors to, you know, women in the community, in the arts and corporate world, all different ethnic backgrounds, all different shapes and sizes to equally represent all that we are. And so that was really important to me because the poetry, 60% is love and heartache, which is universal, but 40% of the poems in my book are women's issues. So we cover a lot of really intense women's issues, and I thought it was really important that the women that you see in the photographs can represent somebody you know, can represent you, and it's just a little bit more wide-reaching.
What inspired each of the poems that you wrote? Was it experiences? Was it people? Was it the way that you were going through the motions?
Initially it was therapeutic. So initially it was things I was experiencing, but as I kept writing, I was intertwining stories of women that I knew, or articles that I read, or things going on in the world.
I think anyone that reads this can relate to some aspect of it. And did you know that HitaTalk originally began as a blog, and it became an outlet for me at a time that was craptastic in my corporate job. I didn't love it, so I would vent in an email. Email it to myself because it can be dangerous, and don't send it to anyone else. And then over time, I would take out the themes and I turned it into HitaTalk. And then I would banter on Facebook, hashtag HitaTalk became this thing, it stuck. And then I obviously rebranded to have entertainment, and now I brought it back full circle to be this women empowerment conversation. And it's interesting to me that that's how this kind of was transpired. Yeah. If you were to go back and change or redo some of this, what's one thing that maybe was so hard for you, an obstacle essentially, that was just not easy in creating the book? Because everyone has a story and we all want to write books, but it's not easy to do a thing like that. So if you were to go back and redo something or do it differently, would you do anything differently?
I don't want to think about regrets. I want to think that every choice, no matter how hard or difficult it was to get through, was intended as a part of my lesson that I needed to learn or my journey that I needed to go through.
Yeah.
There are definitely things that were hard, but I don't know that I would change them because then I wouldn't be here.
You do some other things?
Yes.
Which are?
Yes. So I mentioned the movement was inspired by the poetry. So after writing the book and sharing these bite-sized stories, these poetry, women started sharing themselves with me. And as women started sharing their stories with me, I felt very pulled to move into the women's empowerment space. I don't even know, when I think back in time, I don't even know what happened exactly. I just remember I started moving into that space. And at the beginning of 2017, I created a women's empowerment series. And then last fall, I also had a fashion show.
Oh my gosh, and was it ever? Well, your launch party.
Yes.
A very unique concept.
Yes.
Launch party was at the Women's Club, right?
Yes.
And it was a fashion show, and she would read the poetry. The models came out to the poetry. Designs that they wore were by local designers.
Some were local, and then some were just inspired by the photographs that were in the book.
That's
so it was a combo, yeah.
It's a really cool trifecta, just the format that you have. And then you had another one in the fall.
Yeah.
And is this something that we can expect to see every year?
Yeah, so with the women's empowerment events, we really dive into some deep topics. And when we came off of that series, so we did 5 events in 3.5 months. So we really did explode the market really fast with the brand.
At all.
Yes, it was crazy. And we knew we were gaining a lot of momentum and we wanted to do something for the fall, but we were really exhausted from the empowerment series. So when I did the launch event, I knew there was something really different and really special about how I was combining my poetry with fashion. So I thought it was a great idea after having these heavier conversations to come back in the fall and really just celebrate the women And so that's what we did.
But you have another platform where you help people bring out their brave story or kind of figure out what that is. And it's a workshop.
Yep, and so this year, that's one of the new things. So the Empowerment Series is something we're continuing for this year. And every year we will do an annual fashion show. But what's really new that I haven't done before is bravery workshops. And it's going to be a workshop where not only will we be focusing on our own path of bravery and the brave moments that we've already experienced in our life and kind of building confidence, but then we're going to move into a writing workshop where those women can then start to craft their story.
The series, when is that? Is it all through the year? Is it certain times of the season?
So our Women's Empowerment Series is called Unveiled Beauty, Cultivating You. And like I said, we're relaunching it because it's pretty much the same format with some new elements this year. But it's the entire year, every other month. It'll be housed, our home is Intelligent Nutrients. And yeah, we're super excited about it.
All the information's on your website.
All the information's on our website, www.fashionmeetspoetry.com.
Basically, that's all you need to know. That's where you can find all her stuff, social media, your Facebook, your Twitter, Instagram. The conversations, the people you work with, the women that you surround yourself with in your circle, extended and close, is the diverse aspect. It's very important to incorporate diversity. Why?
Diversity to me just means equal representation of everything, a variety of things. So even from my book models to the women I choose to speak, to the women who model in the fashion show, and we're also bringing on brand ambassadors, all the way through my brand. My core values are authenticity, diversity, inclusivity, and empowerment. And I want, to the best of my ability, to be able to represent as many women as possible. So that's height, that's size, that's socioeconomic background, that's ethnic background, that's work experience, life experience, and I'm moving to that. It's not always as diverse as I want it to be, but it is very important to me, being multiracial and growing up in a very small, predominantly white community. I never really saw women who looked like myself doing phenomenal things. And
Wow.
that is the core. And especially when you're multiracial, I feel like I have my whole life had my feet in many different worlds, included, not included, but I feel like I am of everyone, yet I'm not of anyone. So it's just has always been important to me to finally be in a position where I can do my best to represent as many women as possible.
How can your followers, how can this community be more inclusive with keeping our circles diverse?
I would just say to the men and women who are out there watching and the ones who are interested in the brand is bringing women to my attention who would be interested in sharing their stories, no matter where they came from, no matter what they look like, because I want to make sure the women who share and just, learning about the brand and sharing it with your communities. I think I'm excited about the brand ambassadors that are coming on board in a month because they represent a wide range of women, and hopefully they can go out into their communities and share what we're doing.
Yeah.
And
Be Wonder Women together.
be Wonder Woman together.
How can women continue to empower one another? Empowerment is such a big word, and it can be scary, it can be just what you make of it. But in your perspective, what is one thing you can share with all the viewers of HitaTalk of how people can empower one another, women in particular?
I really believe that we need to just meet each other wherever each other is on our journey. Some women have done a lot of digging deep, some women have not yet. Some women have, at an early age in their early 20s, experienced some really heavy things in life, where some women who are 40 may have never had anything really difficult they've had to deal with. I think that there's such a large spectrum of who we are, where we came from, what we've experienced, that the only way to empower each other is just to be able to meet each other where we are and walk together.
Meeting each other. It takes bravery to do that.
It's hard. It's really hard. I talk about women's empowerment and all these things that I want in my brand and all these things that I want for women to feel and to experience when they come in and when they leave any of our events. But at the end of the day, I'm human too and I'm practicing. So some days I feel like I'm living, breathing beauty and bravery, and some days I also feel like I'm struggling and I'm trying to find my way as well. So, you know, when you meet me on my journey, I hope I can try and meet you on yours.
What's one of your biggest accomplishments and proud moments?
I would have to say my book. Even though I don't focus on it a ton, I mean, I do intertwine my poetry and everything that I do, obviously, but I never thought I would be a published author. So
That's a big deal.
that's huge. Yeah, that's huge.
I have some favorite poems in there, and maybe we can get a sneak peek of one later. So question for you though, how can this community support you? What's the best way to do that?
I just invite everyone to take a look at what I'm doing on social media and my website. And if you haven't heard about me yet, kind of peruse through everything that we have out there. And I invite you to come to one of the events. They're very inspirational, and my goal really is to provide different platforms for everyday women to share their stories of courage and strength. And we really are doing that through our empowerment events and hopefully through other platforms throughout the course of 2018. So this is a big year. We have a lot of initiatives. So
Follow.
follow.
Attend, sign up. You do newsletters. You do so much. So all of that's going to be on her website at fashionmeetspoetry.com. You're a busy lady. How do you take time for yourself? Because I think that's one thing we forget to do as moms, especially. What does Lisa time look like?
I am not good at that.
What do you want to do more of?
What do I want to do more of? I would like to add fitness back into my routine. That has been an area, the last year has been really, stressful getting the business off the ground. I would like to read more. I think those are the two big things. It's hard when you have two little ones and you're trying to be an entrepreneur. It's very, very difficult.
You're doing the best that you can do.
I'm doing the best.
And I will help you and hold your hand as long as you're willing to help me and hold my hand. Is maybe doing some singing in there?
I could do singing.
I'm trying to get at the next thing here. We're going to play a little game.
I love it.
Do a little trivia. Thank you for chatting with me, my dear friend. Don't you guys go anywhere. We have so much more coming up. So you said a way for you to wind down is this type of writing. You know, you like to take some self-care, but I kind of think maybe singing might help you too. It helps me. You guys ready for HitaTalk Karaoke?
I can do karaoke. I can do karaoke, yes.
Titles of these activities are so original.
We're doing karaoke, folks.
So, if I can stand up straight, a little Sarah Bareilles.
Yes.
Brave. Oh, yes. And you play that at the end of your events.
I have.
And then
yes,
I cry. Okay. Oh God. It's the second time in my life I've done this. You can be amazing. You can take a phrase into a weapon or a drug.
Come on, Hita. You can be the outcast.
Give me the backlash.
Or someone's lack of love. There you go.
Or you can start speaking up. Nothing's gonna hurt you.
Wait, where's your settle? Keep on the inside.
No sunlight. Sometimes the shadow wins.
So here we go. See.
I wonder what will happen if you say what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave. You wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave. See you. That's all I got.
Okay, that's all we're gonna do for that one.
Was that just so flawless or what?
Oh my gosh. My mom would be so disappointed in me.
Mom, she did it.
She would
Let's
be
do
disappointed.
another one. Let's do Alicia Keys' Girl on Fire. What do you say? She's just a girl and she's on fire. Hotter than a fantasy. Lonely like a highway. She's living in a world and it's on fire. feeling the catastrophe, but she knows she'll fly away. Oh, she's got both feet on the ground, and she's burning it down. Oh, she's got her head in the clouds, and she's not backing down.
Why?
This girl is on fire. This girl is on fire. She's walking on fire. This girl is on fire. She can be. Wait, that's the wrong song.
That was brave.
I demonstrated bravery today, and you demonstrated bravery today. That was fun.
Why not?
Take it to the bar, continue it on. A little shot to keep going. All right.
Something like that.
So it's time to stump you
Okay, we're
with a
gonna
little
stump me.
bit of
Great.
HitaTalk Trivia. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Stay tuned for HitaTalk Trivia. It is time to stump Lisa Harris on HitaTalk Trivia. You can join me on the shuffle. A couple people have caught on.
Yeah, I saw you shuffling.
Okay. Every day I'm shuffling.
This isn't a shuffle, but go ahead.
I don't know what I'm doing.
That's robot.
Okay.
That's robot, but-
And they have not left the building yet. Okay, so question number one. What the heck? I should probably start with the first. So we're going to ask you 3 questions.
Three,
We
only
meaning
3.
I. Yes, and they're all related to
Okay,
this concept
fantastic.
of what we've been talking about. Name this woman. She is a top 10 women speaker in empowerment and diversity. She's Nigerian. She's a writer of novels, short stories, and nonfiction. And in 2008, she was awarded a MacArthur Genius Grant. Do you know this Wonder Woman?
I do not, but I can picture her face.
Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie.
Oh, yes.
She's
Yes,
amazing.
She's amazing.
She's amazing.
She's really amazing.
And that's one heck of a beautiful name.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous name. I wouldn't have got that one.
But you can
But I
picture
know
her face.
I know her face. Like I've seen her on the podium. I've heard some of her
Yeah,
stuff.
I got you. I got you.
I mean, that's a hard name. too.
well,
Like,
yeah.
Nice.
I
Thanks.
was gonna. Well, I had to have Google pronounce it for me. Question number 2. This award-winning deuce. What does deuce mean?
Yeah, I know. I was just looking at you.
That means take a crap, I think. Okay. Question number 2. This award-winning author wrote the #1 international bestseller, Lean In,
Oh yeah.
surrounding women in work, family balance, and initiated a global community dedicated to helping women achieve their ambitions. Who is this Wonder Woman?
Sheryl Sandberg?
Yes, she
Sandberg,
is.
Yes, Sheryl Sandberg.
Have you read that book?
Yes.
I
made my husband read it.
Really?
He travels overseas, and I put it in his bag, and I said, "You have to read Lean In."
And apparently,
Yes.
communities have lean in groups, and I will probably
Yeah.
be joining one too. So
Yep, I thought of it
stay
before. Yeah.
tuned. Okay,
You have to
we'll
let me
talk.
know how it goes.
Question number 3. This stunning, talented Wonder Woman once stated this quote: "Beauty is only skin deep. I think what's really important is finding a balance of mind, body, and spirit." She's a singer, an actress, a dancer, a fashion designer. She's not your mama, but she's a mama of 2. Who is this Wonder Woman?
I don't know, but all I'm thinking about is Jennifer Lopez.
It's Jennifer Lopez. I ain't your mama. Oh, I ain't your mama. That's all I got. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Lisa Harris of Fashion Meets Poetry, my lovely friend, and your soon-to-be empowerment.
Can we
leader.
hug the
host? Embrace. Follow her, fashionmeetspoetry.com. Subscribe to HitaTalk, and we'll see you at the next